Daniel Rios coming into the technical area for Atlanta United as Saba will send this out of the near corner goal to our left. Sixth corner of the match for Atlanta. Sends it into the back post. Header, score! Set piece goal! Set piece goal! It's finally happened, and it's Stan Gregerson!
Morning. 2-1 win over the defending Cup champs. We'll get into your highlights coming up in just a little bit. Just because it is a Leagues Cup week and there is nothing going on in Major League Soccer does not mean it is going to be a nothing's going on week here at SDH. Morning, Derek. And absolutely true, LFTM. LFTM hits you not once but twice. We'll get into it. Abe Gordon coming up just around the corner. And as always, it's a reaction Monday, so whatever's on your mind from the weekend. Doesn't matter if it's Atlanta United. We're going to be talking about Atlanta United, but it doesn't matter if it is just Atlanta United, if it's something else, whatever. We got transfer news from overseas. We have the Premier League less than a month away, and so folks are jostling, trying to grab players right and left. We've got a lot of stuff in the lower divisions, remainder of the weekend in Major League Soccer. And this is why I say just because there's no MLS going on and it's Leagues Cup doesn't mean there's a whole lot going on. Here's the rundown for the week, and it's busy as ish. So we'll go over what happened in lower divisions this weekend, NPSL playoffs to USL League 2 playoffs, because tomorrow morning, 9:15, hitting his traditional time slot on Tuesdays, it's the head coach of North Carolina Courage U23s, Willie Davis, might be bringing some friends. They're your champs in USLW for the 2024 season. So knocking off Colorado Storm, so we'll catch up with Coach Davis and maybe some players. 9:15 tomorrow, it is your champions of USLW, less than a month away from USLS, the Super League. It is going to be North Carolina Courage visiting at 9:15. Brett Teach, the head coach at Columbus United, who we last caught up with in an airport, Hartsfield-Jackson, as they were trying to get to Houston to go to Midland, Odessa, to take on West Texas SC. The reason we're talking to Brett, it's not a postmortem. They move on. They win on the road in Texas, and so they are now traveling to FC Motown in the semifinals this weekend. Because of that semifinal, there's another semifinal, and it involves our friends at Duluth FC. Duluth FC went on the road. Remember, we caught up with John Schuster in his office as he was getting ready to leave Friday morning to fly to Pittsburgh so they could see Duluth FC going up against Great Lakes. Duluth FC advances, but they now have to travel to El Farolito, one of our favorite Mexican restaurants in Northern California. So tomorrow morning, it's going to be Willie Davis from North Carolina Courage at 9:15 to discuss the USLW championship. Brett Teach and Columbus United before they hit the road to go to FC Motown and one NPSL semifinal. Gold medalist John Schuster, bronze medalist John Schuster, multi-medalist John Schuster, owner, mogul in training at Duluth FC. He's going to join us at 10 o'clock tomorrow morning to discuss Duluth FC's win and how they're going to get from Duluth to San Francisco for Saturday. Wednesday, it's Tyler Pilgrim joining us from Scarves and Spikes. That'll be at 9:15. See if we can catch up with the busiest man in the Northeast, Dylan Butler, at 10. Thursday, it's the last Thursday of the month, which means Kaylor Hodges in the USL show is going to join us at 9:30. 10 o'clock, we're going to have Nino Torres dropping by to discuss whatever's on his mind, Libertadores, Sudamericana, burpees from his lanai, whatever. And then Nico Moreno joining us at 10:30. And then Friday, we'll get you ready for Leagues Cup and get you ready for anything else on our collective minds as we go. And like I said, just because there's no MLS and it's just Leagues Cup doesn't mean that there are things that are not going on for a double negative that just drove my mother crazy. So there we go. As always, I always say bat and lead off. I always kind of give the 9:15 time frame. But since that was opening kickoff, brought to us by our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. There's your QR code. For those of you who are watching on Twitch, on the 280-character app, or on our YouTube channel, use that QR code, and what you can do is get to Kickoff Coffee, kick off your day with them. Don't forget to use the code SoccerDownHere15. You get 15% off your purchase. They, in turn, take 10%, reinvest it into things that are cool. I feel like Carlito there for a second. So use that QR code, get into Kickoff Coffee. Soccer Down Here 15 gets you 15% off, 10% gets reinvested into cool stuff, youth initiatives, and stuff that they have earmarked at our friends at Kickoff Coffee and kickoffcoffeeco.com. Okay, filibustered long enough. Gave you the rundown for the week, which means we bring in our buddy Abe Gordon, who is having the sun of Colony Square shining upon him this morning through the shades. And the sun is shining. It's a beautiful morning, Abe. It's a Monday. Atlanta United's got full points. They're north of the playoff bar again in the street fight that is the Eastern Conference in Major League Soccer. Did I miss anything?
No, I mean, hey, we got the Olympic tournament about to get set too, so I'm excited about that. You know me, and the apps on my phone are ready to stream as much as possibly can be streamed. But look, I mean, I sit here having a chat with you after a victory I did not see coming. Just quite frankly, and no disrespect to the Atlanta United squad, but everyone I had talked to leading up to this game said, don't worry about the standings. The Columbus Crew are the best team in the MLS. And considering what you don't have available, and that is two of your designated players. Well, you don't have two designated players. You only have the one. And, of course, the one made all the difference on Saturday. But considering what you do and don't have and how Columbus was informed coming in, everything that you would have thought needed to take place for Atlanta United to win this game did not happen. I thought for sure they were going to have to find a way to get a 1-0 lead. If they go down a goal, they start chasing, they get open at the back, and it could turn ugly like Real Salt Lake, something like that. And so for them to come back, score 2 goals in a manner of which they have not done the entire course of the season is pretty astonishing. And for a team that was trying to find a way to stay in touch with the playoff line, you're begging for a point here, a point there against teams above you, way above you in the standings. To find 3 points, you picked up points on like 6 or 7 teams on Saturday night, and now you are back on the right side of the playoff line. And look, that could change very quickly based on your next MLS, performance. But to be in the position where you are, also with like the combined excitement and potential of the transfer window opening and waiting to see what gets added. Look, I know it's been a tough season for United fans, hoping that this is the start of it turning up a little bit.
Yeah, and you got Leagues Cup now that you can kind of parlay all of this excitement into coming up on Friday to get things started there. And I think that I'm probably going to have to pull the drop at the end of the goal score. It was set piece goal. I think I'm going to have to pull that and push that over to the side to have it as a drop. Get after it, big fella. Our resident LFTM, large, fast, tall man, Stian Gregerson went 2 for 2.
Yeah, and the thing is when we brought Stian in, that was one of the discussions. Like, oh, look, now we've got a guy that can go jump and potentially bury a couple of these. And it just didn't happen for one reason or another. But, yeah, I mean, you're talking about carbon copy goals, same side from Stian Gregerson, same side from Sabo Lobjanidze.
How do you not, if you're Wilfred Nazi,
get a body on him?
Yeah,
get a body on him.
It's like
make him like they're not going to call a penalty. So like take them down. Like they're not going to call all the scrum and scruff that we see inside the box on corner kicks. I mean, it'd have to be so egregious for them to have actually called a penalty. Just bump them around a little bit. But I guess Jay Fortune got in the way for a little bit, kind of a moving block, Draymond Green style, and he was able to rise and get it done. It was astonishing. It really was. I mean, the first one catches you by surprise, right? Because it hasn't happened all year. The game's kind of quiet at the moment. Sure, it's another corner, but they haven't done anything on corners all year. And so that, but when the second one comes around, you're like, all right, they just did this like 4 minutes ago. They really going to score a second one? And sure enough, they did. So, and look, to be quite honest, I'd have been okay if it was just 1 point against Columbus. I think you take that. And it would have come feeling a lot different than the 1 point did against NYCFC, right? Yeah. But to be able to find a winner, I mean, it tells you a couple things. And the other thing that I really enjoyed about Saturday night was from Valentino on down, you could tell how much relief was built from that performance, because in the press conferences, the guy, you could just emotionally, you could hear it in their voices. The answers weren't short and stern. Guys were smiling. They were happy. I was watching from the press box still, and I know some guys shuffle down to the elevators right as final whistle hits to get ready for the press conference and stuff. But it was amazing to see Brad Guzan on final whistle run over to Stian Gregerson and kind of like kiss him on the forehead or something like that. You could tell how much it meant for them, understanding the quality of team that they just beat. And they talked about it in the postgame. It wasn't just another win. It was a win against those guys who are really good. And so, it was certainly meaningful. And we talk about like the two big wins in regards to unexpected results. And I think you go back to that Inter Miami game. The difference is, I think the guys can enjoy this one a little more because the Inter Miami game still came with Gonzalo Pineda and that job kind of hanging over his head and what's going to happen in the future. Did we save his job? Did this win do that? This is a different story. This is the win that they can enjoy for themselves. And I think they're taking full advantage. Plus, for once, they're going to have a couple of training sessions without a midweek game. And like you said, off all the way until Friday, DC United here for Leagues Cup. And then they have a whole nother week off before Santos comes in on a Sunday afternoon. So this win comes at a good time for Atlanta United.
This whole, oh my God, we've got time to actually practice, where you had, 3, I think, in a 6-week period because of schedule compression is insane to me.
Yeah, like I remember way back when we were like the schedule compression, and then we had like that 12-day break, and we're like, oh, finally. And then like it was right, there was no like slowly ramping back into it. It was like midweek weekend. And so now we're finally here. You got Pedro Amador. Maybe you can realistically work him in a little bit easier. Although, if we're going to be honest, Ronald Hernandez has played so well. I don't know if I'm making a change right now. In fact, I would specifically not be making a change right now, unless the formation would call for it. But it's going to be interesting to see how some downtime. I mean, look, Rios was exhausted on Wednesday. He got banged up a bit after coming on as a sub here on Saturday. Saba had to leave after 75 minutes on Wednesday. He put in a heck of an effort, as he always does on Saturday. It is going to be some nice rest and recovery for these guys. No doubt about that.
I think also the rest of the league probably is going to take this match with Atlanta United and Columbus and put it in their huddle. I mean, it's the HUDL. They're going to put it in all of their film analysis, because what you saw with Atlanta United in the 3-4-3, the gelatinous mass that is a 3-4-3 allegedly until you start, with Wilfred Nancy, get the whistle and then everything changes. With the 3 center backs, or the 3 at the back that Columbus had, Atlanta United found some joy off of the edges, and it was either going over the top or through balls in the first 45, and that continued to accentuate itself where you're going long down the left, you're going long down the right, and the speed of Atlanta United down the wings was creating issues for that back 3 with Columbus. I think Columbus has to figure some stuff out, because if they're just going to have those guys at the back that they were, speed may kill Columbus at key points this season.
My partner in crime, Garrett Chapman, was pointing out to me at times that Columbus, when they have the ball and they're starting to move their units forward, their defenders get kind of like aggressively high. Mm-hmm. Like their last line of defense was nowhere close to the midfield line. They were almost to the attacking third. And so, the one way I would combat that is to have the defense sit a little bit further back if I were Columbus, because I do think that opened up a couple of opportunities that probably shouldn't have been there. in terms of getting in behind them, but while still in your own half, stuff like that. The interesting thing to me is this should be a reminder to the MLS. It's like if the Inter Miami message wasn't delivered, and I know this hasn't been the year we've all wanted it to be, but this is a team that had one designated player with the potential of two more coming in before the playoffs. This is a team that can still be dangerous this season. And look, that doesn't mean that they're going to be favorites heading into the MLS playoffs, but can they throw a wrench into a couple of teams' plans? Absolutely. And so I'm really interested. I think we've seen some great work from a number of guys really stepping up. I don't know what got in to Saba Lobjanidze while he was over in Europe.
But he'll take it, brother. Exactly.
But he has come back like and it's not like the pre-Euros Saba was useless and irrelevant, but he has come back. And it feels like it's a determination thing. I don't know how you quantify that on the field. To use like an old like American football term, like kids got a lot of want to.
Yeah.
There's just something about it where you see him and he just wants it so bad. And he has upped his level of play. I think that's made things easier in the middle, whether it's for TRA or for Rios. I think we talked early in the year about the left side of things. There's still some issues there. But at least it's looked a little bit dangerous. Not necessarily a ton of goals coming there yet, but at least it's looked a little bit more dangerous. And just everyone in the midfield, I think Bartosz Slisz has stepped up in responsibility in terms of adding to the attack without Thiago Almada as well. And again, it's not necessarily correlating to him having 3 goals and 2 assists in 7 games. But I just feel like there's a little bit more danger. Everyone's kind of picking up the slack a little bit, but I certainly do think it's Saba Lobjanidze leading the way in respect to that.
And to your point about Bart, I think that when you saw it in the NYC match initially, where in attack it would almost look like a 4-1-4-1, where Bart is turning into that 8/10 and he's getting engaged in the play, and he's giving the defense someone else that they have to account for that they may not necessarily have originally thought, oh, we've got to keep an eye on this guy too. And it's creating opportunities for Bartosz Slisz to sit there and it's like, okay, I can be a cog in this and I can sit there and cause issues. It's like, okay, they have to account for me. And I think that that's been key this last couple of matches too.
Yeah, look, if Atlanta United continues to be creative with their formations and responsibility and what freedoms they allow their players to have, it actually does become a very tough unit to prepare for, because when you had Almada and you had Giakoumakis, it was kind of a little more straightforward. You knew where guys were going to be, in certain guys. I mean, look, maybe they swing to one side or another for a short period, but you kind of knew where everyone was going to be. And you want to talk about just free-flowing and guys all over the place. I do think they have freedom for that now that maybe you wouldn't have expected or experienced against Atlanta United previously. And when you have guys in places, in spaces that maybe they shouldn't be, they do get lost defensively, and that will happen. So certainly continuing to see that as well. I mean, look, I know it was offsides, but early in that match, you almost won a penalty kick, and I think that was Derek Williams up front, if my memory serves. And it's like, what is our center back like doing as the furthest man up, essentially? And I know the offsides came earlier, but I mean, that's what I'm talking about. That's a guy how many times do you really count for a center back in the run of play inside the box? And I'm not talking about Stian Gregerson on a corner kick. You're used to that. But in the run of play, that guy's all the way up front. And so whose responsibility is that? You go through your pregame planning. All right, this guy's got Saba. This guy's got Slisz. This guy, if Moyamba comes – you don't have a guy that is pinpointed to defend Derek Williams. And so there is that freedom to maybe put defenses in awkward positions. And I look to see a lot more of that as we move forward, and still try and figure out, how the best attack through the midfield.
Another couple of minutes here with Abe Gordon from 92.9 The Game, host of Pre and Post and all the fun involving Atlanta United here on a Reaction Monday. One other guy that I wanted to talk about, I got to ask Rob Valentino this question after the match, is about the continued evolution of Jay Fortune. And what we're seeing with Jay, and literally it's like, there's no qualm at all about, okay, if Dax gives me 90 or if Dax gives me 75, Jay comes in for 15, I can flip the script for the next game in a schedule compression element, and then Jay can give me 75 or he can give me 90. Jay Fortune continuing to impress, but this has just been his path. Once again, another one of those Atlanta United Academy folks stepping in, being ready, and jumping into it without any kind of an issue.
And I think it's the reminder that we've gotten from everyone else as well to just be you. Like, we are not placing you, or Dax McCarty for that region, we're not placing you in the midfield to be a poor man's Thiago Almada. We're placing you there to play your game and your style, and you can adjust a little bit, sure, but our guys can adjust to you as well. And I think that is significant, because if he starts trying to do things he's not necessarily comfortable doing, you're going to get put in bad positions. But by doing his game, playing what's been comfortable to him the whole time through, it's kind of like the rising tide a little bit. Everyone can kind of pick up a little bit of slack. Like we mentioned, it's not up to Jay Fortune or Dax McCarthy to immediately become Thiago Almada. And so as long as he keeps that mindset, and I think that's an important message that has been delivered from Rob Valentino. I know, and look, if he said it to us in the media, he's definitely said it to the players before. We're not asking this guy to be the same number 10 that the last number 10 was. And so I think that's important. And it is now reaching a level of comfort that we see him in the midfield, Jay Fortune, and we don't really bat a second eye. I know earlier in the season there was like, all right, who are we going to do midfield and McCarty defensively, either this or that. But now either one of them, and McCarty's had a great run of form as well. So now you're just comfortable there. Again, it's going to look different than it has until you get another designated player in there. But very strong showings in the midfield. There's no doubt about that.
Numbers on Jay Fortune, just for the record: 37 touches, 1 incomplete pass on the day, 23 of 24, 2 for 2 on his long balls, 6 for 11 total in his duels, 6 of 10 on the ground. Obviously, he loses the one duel that he had in the air. 3 fouls. He was fouled 1 time, 1 clearance, 1 interception, 5 total tackles for Jay Fortune in the matchup against Columbus. So it was a strong showing in a bunch of different categories that got ticked off there for Jay in the midfield for Atlanta United in the win against Columbus. Okay, plans for Leagues Cup. Friday, DC United comes to town. What do you know?
Boy, this is an interesting tournament. It really is. And beyond, I'm almost bummed out that we have to start it. And there are some other teams as well that are starting it in this manner. I'm pretty bummed out that we're starting it with the MLS versus MLS side of things. Yeah. I was working on the rundown earlier this morning, and I was like putting together all the other matchups. And you got Lyon and you got Mazatlan and some of the cooler teams, and we all know about the big boys in the tournament, but I do like seeing some of the smaller squads as well. We've got Santos Laguna on our side, but that's going to be for the Sunday next. Look, you've got an opportunity here because of the format, because of the odd number of teams, because of how large that first round of knockout stage is, being a 32-team knockout stage. 2 of every 3 teams out of the group is getting through. And so you have a real opportunity on Friday night to immediately stamp yourself and say, all right, like, we're moving on. And you could do that by beating DC United. And look, I know you may look at me and say, look, DC United took you to the woodshed last time they were here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. Look, we didn't have Stian Gregerson the last time we were here in Mercedes-Benz Stadium. So we'll see if Benteke is getting up look, he scored 3 header goals. I'm not that impressed. We've got a guy that just scored 2 of them. So I think we're in good shape. And by the way, on that note, congrats to Stian for making MLS Team of the Match Day. You had Saba Lobjanidze on the bench with the 2 assists off the corners for Team of the Match Day. So congrats to both of them. But yeah, I think this is an opportunity where you talk about, one, building momentum off of Columbus, but maybe catching a little bit of break and a little bit of rest. You got Benteke and Aaron Herrera. We'll see what happens, but they are playing in the MLS All-Star game. I don't imagine that would force them to the bench, but fingers crossed, I guess, if we're going to pull anything positive out of the MLS All-Star game. But, I feel pretty good, to be honest. I feel pretty good about Friday night at home. It's a really cool tournament featuring Liga MX and the MLS. And it's great that it's expanded, too. I mean, a couple of years ago, it was 4 MLS teams and 4 Liga MX teams. Now you're talking about 47 teams, the entirety of the MLS, the entirety of Liga MX. There is a prize in terms of a bye into the round of 16 for the CONCACAF Champions Cup. There is a reason to go after it. And I expect Atlanta United to do just that. So I'm very excited, not just for Atlanta United's match, but to see some of the other matchups, around the tournament.
No doubt about it, my friend. We will see you on Friday at Mercedes-Benz, and we will be hearing you as well on 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. As always, at Abe Gordon. Appreciate you, my friend. We'll see you soon.
Yep, sounds good. We'll chat with you next Monday.
There you go. There's Abe. And Abe's going to continue his preps for Atlanta United and for Columbus Crew, and he's going to continue his hydration on a Reaction Monday. And that's all the important stuff that we've got with Abe. As always, it's great to have Abe come in and give his perspectives, bat and lead off for us for the week when it comes to Atlanta United. All right, let's go through the goals. I know I did a bit of a cold open with the first Atlanta United goal, but we're going to do them in sequence. And it was the way that it worked out early on. This was the first goal of the match. Once again, courtesy of our friends at 92.9 The Game and the Odyssey app. Columbus gets a 1-0 lead after Atlanta United had been hanging tough in the first half.
Chaberco put in the middle now to Morera. Morera trying to find Ramirez down the middle. It's knocked away. Atlanta trying to clear. Unable, though, is Moyamba. It rolls ahead now to Baton. Left side of the 18. Dribbles into the box. Baton to the end line. Cross. Spilled by Guzan. Slam dunk by Rossi. 1-0 Columbus.
And that was the first goal on the board. Columbus had the lead, but Atlanta United just kept chasing after it. And the point that I was making with Abe, with that back three, that, yeah, you do have points where Columbus comes forward and literally, and I was having a discussion with some folks on Saturday, and when you watch Columbus at times, it's like watching jazz, because you'll notice that you have somebody like Arfston, who is naturally an attacker, who's been placed in a deeper position in this Wilfred Nancy setup. And you have folks, they just kind of wander in. They know their responsibilities. It's like, oh, there's space. I think I'll wander in there. And it's just very free flowing. And at times, if you don't have a vested interest and you're just watching Columbus to watch Columbus, it can be very, very cool to watch, where you have folks that, oh, there's space. I think I'll fill it. Okay, then the other person behind knows, all right, I can drift behind and I can take over defensively. So it is a 3-4-3 in picture form. But when it flows and it works, when you've got C-Ram and Matan and Rossi and Cucho and all of these different weapons that they have, and Mo Farsi jumping into the play, all of these kinds of things, literally, it's like free-flowing jazz. And it can be very, very cool to watch if you don't have a vested interest. But the back three, as we were talking about, the speed for Atlanta United could take advantage of that back three. They had it, and especially looking down the middle at times when you had Jamal and Camacho in a 1v1 matchup. But I think that you look at Columbus and the space that can be created because of the attack coming forward leaves gaps behind down the left and the right. Atlanta United took advantage of that and found some opportunities to put some shots on net, but as it would turn out, the 2 goals on the day would come from set pieces. Let's go ahead and re-roll the cold open. LFTM number 1 from Saturday.
Daniel Rios coming into the technical area for Atlanta United as Saba will send this out of the near corner goal to our left. 6th corner of the match for Atlanta. Sends it into the back post. Header, score! Set piece goal! Set piece goal! It's finally happened, and it's Stian Gregerson!
So Stian Gregerson gets his first of the season. Not to be outdone, my friends, Stian Gregerson got his second of the season. Carbon copy. And literally, as we were having the discussion with Abe, it's like, all right, you know what's coming. At least you think you do. Then the LFTM, our large, fast, tall man, Stian Gregerson. And when you watch it from the TV side, and you hear the call of Tony Husband and Ross Smith. And I give the audio guy in the truck a lot of credit on both of these goals, where you hear the force with which Stian Gregerson makes contact with the ball to put it in the back of the net. This made it 2-1 for Atlanta United, once again, courtesy of our friends at 92.9 The Game in the Odyssey app.
Saba sending it in to the back post. Header! Score! Again, it's Gregerson! This place is going crazy. Atlanta's got a 2-1 lead on the Cup champions with 15 minutes to play.
And you got your standard amount of ish housing from Atlanta United and Brad Gazan. So Atlanta United gets out with full points north of the playoff bar once again. They're in the 8-9. We'll go over standings coming up in just a little bit. Here's your numbers from certain folks and certain players. The stats on the day, once again, courtesy of our friends at SofaScore. 2 Stian Gregerson goals, by the way, 16 minutes apart. XG, if you believe in these kind of things, 1.85 to 1.62 for Columbus Crew. Possession on the day, this is an interesting number, 69% possession for Crew. But once again, it's what you do with it. 71% possession in the second half, by the way, for Crew. But it's seriously, I mean, a lot of what Crew was doing was this, just side to side, trying to find stuff and being forced to work backward all over again before having to come forward. Not a whole lot of progressive stuff coming from Crew on the day. 4 big chances for Atlanta United compared to 1 for Crew. Total shot 16-13 Crew. 4 saves for Hagen, and he had to come up with a couple of big ones in the first half. Hagen! First half saves 9-7 corners for Atlanta, 9-8, so 17 fouls called. So we kind of knew where Rosendo Mendoza was going to be with his whistle and his cards, or a lack thereof. So only 7, and I didn't realize this, 17 fouls on the day called, 9 for Atlanta United. Twice as many passes for Crew. Of course, when you have 70% possession, that would make some sense. But more than twice the number of passes for Crew than Atlanta United. 20 tackles to 12 for Crew. Free kicks, 9-8 Crew. 2 yellows for Atlanta United, questionable. 1 for Crew. Also on the day, with the 16 total shots for Crew, only 1 shot on target the entire time. 1 shot on target out of the 16. 7 shots on target for Atlanta United of the 13 that they took, including 1 that hit the woodwork. 12 shots off target listed by SofaScore compared to 4. 3 blocks to 2 for Crew. It was 10 shots to 7 shots inside the box. Ergo was 9-3 shots outside the box. And there you go. You combine these things together. 1 shot on target out of 16 for Crew. 12 shots off target, obviously. All of the numbers that are there, shots outside the 18. 9 of those 16 with only 1 on target the entire time. More than half of the shots were outside the 18 for Columbus on the day. 2 big chances scored to 1. You had 2 big chances missed for Atlanta. 25 touches in the penalty area compared to 30 for Atlanta United. 1 foul in the final third, 3 offsides on the day. 2 of those to Atlanta United. Atlanta United had 69% completion in the final third compared to 80%. It was final third entries, obviously twice as many, 70-33. Long balls on the day, 33-32. Crew had 13 less long balls on the day. Atlanta United 32 of 58, completing at 55%, but 32 of 33. So 1 less long ball on the day for Atlanta United going up against Crew. 10 crosses for Atlanta United compared to 5 on the day. You had Columbus winning 62% of the duels on the day, 38 of the 62, and 10 of the 15 in the air. 9 dribbles completed to 4, tackles 1. It was 2/3 of the tackles for Atlanta United, 12 tackles on the day. They won 2/3 of them, so 8 of the 12, and total tackles for Crew, 17 out of the 20 that they accomplished. But Atlanta United defensively, 17 interceptions on the day of Crew passes compared to 4. 44 recoveries for Crew, 23 clearances, and 12 for Columbus, but 17 interceptions to 4 for Atlanta United defensively. And once again, 15 goal kicks for Brad and 5 for Hagen. Hagen had 4 saves. Goals prevented, a minus .35 for Columbus on the day. So your lineups once again for Atlanta United, it was Brad in net, back 4. Ronald, Derek, Stian, and Brooks, each of them scoring more than a 7 in SofaScore. I know that Abe had mentioned Ronald Hernandez on the day, so let me go through Ronald's numbers. Played the full 90, 5 clearances, 2 interceptions, 2 tackles, 1 dribble passed, won 3 of his 4 ground duels, obviously didn't get the one in the air, 46 touches, 83% passing at 20 of 24. Had 1 long ball on the day and 1 shot off target. So that's what you got from Ronald Hernandez, who was playing left back. Derek Williams on the day. Played the full 90. 7 clearances for Derek Williams on the day. It was 1 block, 1 pick, and 28 of 30 passing on 41 touches for Derek Williams. 4 for 6 on long balls from Derek on the day, and 1 shot off target. Obviously, Stian Gregerson with 2 goals, punched a 9 on SofaScore, and XG of a .41 on 2 goals, expected assists .02. In addition to the 2 goals, Stian Gregerson, 3 clearances, 2 blocks, an interception, 1 dribble passed, 3 of 5 on his ground duels, won both of his aerial duels, was fouled 3 times, 41 touches, 27 of 30 passing, 90%. 3 of 5 on long balls, had the 2 shots on target. So that's Stian Gregerson. Once again, you've got a lot of guys hitting a lot of different columns going up against Columbus. Brooks had a 7.0. I know that a lot of you have been talking about Tristan Muyimba, the mayor of Back Hill City. Get into Tristan. Tristan punched a 6.4. Jay Fortune, we talked about his numbers. Bart Sleesh is 6.5. Shande and Jamal up top had 6.7s. Sabalob Janidze had an 8 in SofaScore's rating. XG of a .36, 2 assists, and expected assists of .87. 1 shot off target, 1 for 2 on the dribble, hit the woodwork once, and obviously that was his big chance missed. 36 touches, 12 of 15, passing at 80%, 4 key passes, 4 crosses, 2 big chances created, one ground duel on the day, and he also had 4 interceptions and 2 dribbles passed. The lineup for Columbus in the 3-4-2-1, 3-4-3, whatever you want to call it. Nicholas Hagen was in net. Shiberko, Camacho, Morera. That was your back 3. Max Arfston, Alexandru Matan, Zawadzki, who, once again, he was another guy that I forgot to mention, weaves his way into play offensively, and it's not just there from that right midfield, that right internal midfield position. Zawadzki, he'll wander aimlessly, even though it looks like it's wandering aimlessly, but he'll wander. He won't just lock himself into position, and you'll end up with Zawadzki in places that you wouldn't necessarily expect. Mo Farsi was on the right-hand side of the midfield. C-Ram and Diego Rossi were the 2 in the line above, and Cucho Hernandez was the point of the spear. And so those are the numbers that you had. Just to give you an idea, Morera 7.1, Camacho a 6.9, Shiberko a 7.4, 7.5 for Arfston, Matana 7.2, Zawadzki a 7.7, Mo Farsi a 6.9, Rossi a 7.7, Christian Ramirez a 6.6, and Cucho a 7.8. Sean Zawadzki, as we mentioned, 73 of 77 passing on 87 touches, 95%. 1 key pass, 5 of 6 on long balls, 1 for 1 on the dribble, 8 of 9 on the ground duels, 2 for 2 in the air, 10 of 11 overall, 1 foul, fouled twice, 1 clear, 5 total tackles. That's what you're getting from Sean Zawadzki in the midfield. So that's what you end up with for Atlanta United on the day, as Atlanta United knocks off Columbus Crew. Aggregate score from our friends at SofaScore, a 7.07, and Columbus actually had a higher score aggregate at a 7.14. But Atlanta United gets the 2 goals off of set pieces, off of corners. Gregerson in the 60th and the 76th, Rossi in the 36th, and so that was where Atlanta United ends up getting the 2-1 win on the day. So the standings as we have them, in the East and the West, as we are now officially in All-Star break. How many of you are going to watch All-Star break, by the way? You're going to watch the day before, all of the cool stuff on Tuesday before All-Star break on Wednesday? By the way, the unified match is at 3:30 on Tuesday afternoon. So if you can find a way to watch that, watch that. We'll see if we can catch up with Marty Jelmy at some point and find out what's going on with the unified team. Because after that, after the showing in the All-Star game, there's going to be a trip to Los Angeles as they take on LAG's unified team on the 24th of August. Another frontier for the unified team for Atlanta United, and they are going to Los Angeles for their next match that we all get the chance to see. Eastern Conference right now at the All-Star break. Miami's at 53 points, 5 points clear of Cincinnati, who still is lacking center backs. They are at 48 points. Crew is at 43 points, but they have 2 matches in hand. So in theory, if they zero out their matches with wins, they would be second. Red Bulls right now at 41 points, 25 matches. Everybody's right now in the neighborhood of 25, some at 26. Miami's early matches have now evened out with everybody else. NYC starts that second group, if you want to call it that, with NYC at 38 points with 11 wins. Charlotte's at 37 points with 10. Purple team is 34 with 9. That gets you into the 8-9, which is currently right now Toronto, Atlanta. Toronto's at 30. Atlanta's at 28. But once again, you have 2, 4, 6, 8 teams separated by 7 points between 8 and the bottom. It is 30, 28. Philadelphia's at 27. Identical record to Montreal, but well ahead on goal difference. 18 goal difference between Philly and Montreal right now. Philadelphia's at a +3. They woke up against Nashville this weekend. Montreal is at a -15 in goal difference. This is stunning to me. Everyone that is a part of this whole rush, we'll go through goal difference here. Nashville's at 26 points, identical record to DC, 2 goals ahead of them with a -13 goal difference. DC is at 6-11-8. They've given up 50 goals, -15 in goal difference. Chicago's at 25 points. New England's at 23. They've still only scored 23 goals in 23 games. And they still have a more than 2 goals per match average allowed. 47 goals in 23 games. So that is the East. The East is a mess from 8 to 15. In the West, LA at 49 points, LAFC at 47. RSL is at 44. LAFC has the least number of matches played at 24. Colorado is the start of that second group, if you want to call it that, at 41 points, although they've made up ground, but they also have 1 more match played than RSL. 41 points for Colorado. Vancouver's at 38. Houston's at 37. Seattle's played 1 more match. They have the same number of wins, same goal difference, and Houston right now has 1 more goal scored. Houston 6, Seattle 7. Portland is at 8 at 36 points. Then you still have 9, 10, 11 kind of chasing after each other. Minnesota's 9. Austin right now is 10 at 31 points. And Dallas, that has been kind of surging at late. And you want to talk about extremes with Dallas? Dallas 8-3-2 at home, 8-4 away from home. Have not won away from home. Right now they are 11th in the West. Sporting is at 24 points. They are 9 points adrift of the playoffs. All Caps is at 23 points. They are 10 points adrift from the playoffs in the West. 4, 10, and 11 this year. 6-6 away from All Caps Park. In San Jose, they're just flat out adrift. 4-19-2. 25 games. 14 points for San Jose this year. They've scored 31. They've given up 61. 2.4 goals per match average allowed for San Jose this year. They are a -30 in goal difference. 30, -30. And by far, they have allowed the most goals in Major League Soccer. You have DC, who's given up 50. Kansas City's given up 52. San Jose has given up 61. 6-1. 61 goals. 61 goals this season. That is what San Jose has done or not done, depending on your perspective. 3-9-1 at home at PayPal Park, 1-10-1 away from home. Everybody's sitting there lining up their schedule, sitting there going, hey, when are we playing San Jose? They'll get the number 1 pick in the Super Draft, whatever that means. All right, folks. You guys have had a lot of fun this morning in the Twitch pitch. So let's say hi to everybody and get what's going on in your mind. Morning, Derek. Derek was first in the clubhouse with the LFTMs. And morning, David. Morning, Alex. Morning, Michael. Hutch, in the span of 4 days, United first forced the then fifth-place team to come from behind to force a 2-2 tie, then go on to beat the third-place team 2-1. Hutch says he calls it real progress. He's encouraged. Speaking of progress, no updates on anything, whether it is Miranchuk-based, whether it is Cristaldo-based, or Bart Sliech-based. Remember last week, we were looking at those 3 pieces of information. It was reported, Doug Robertson of the AJC, that there was nothing to Bart to Udinese. And Cristaldo out of Gremio to Atlanta United. Cristaldo's making $750,000 a year right now as it is. And Cristaldo wants an increase in salary. Thinks that this is just a play by Cristaldo's agent to try and get some more money out of Gremio. If that's the case, good to have Atlanta United in these kinds of conversations being mentioned. Well, Atlanta United's interested. And then you have the Scooby-Doo chase music kick in, where the front office of insert team here is sitting there going, okay, we need to act fast on something. We need to sign this player. We need to make this player happy. We need to keep him. We can't lose him to Atlanta United. I'm putting in a sale request for Atlanta United. Still a part of the conversation. Miranchuk still appears to be the one that is getting the most legs and the most mentions. So let's just do a quick 280-character app run and see if we have anything based on anything involving Miranchuk and a possible transfer to Atlanta United. Miranchuk Gold is not what we were looking at. So once again, it is somewhere between 10 and 15 for Atalanta and Atlanta to square away. Probably Alexei Miranchuk. And yes, I'm going to accept I don't want anything having to do with tires. Nothing like Google in Italian, It's like, just get out of my way. Get out of my way. No, it's just like, no. Tutto Atalanta trying to sit there, and it's like, look, bruh. I just want to click on an article. I don't want pop-up windows involving tires. So according to our friends at Tutto Atalanta saith the following, at least this morning. Here's the headline. And once again, this is Google Translated. Goddess between purchases and sales, Miranchuk's exit soon. And that's the headline of the article. So that's where we are. We bring in Jarrett on a Reaction Monday. So Jarrett, what up?
There's news, I assume.
Oh, I'm just updating the possible pursuits of Atalanta and Miranchuk with a headline from Tutto Atalanta. Goddess, between purchases and sales, Miranchuk's exit soon. Nerazzurri evaluating new reinforcements in midfield and on the wings while preparing to sell Miranchuk to Atlanta United. That's a headline from this AM.
Well, as I have explained to people before, and we will reiterate it, it's not a one-for-one.
Right.
But if you want to kind of get an idea of how the string is being pulled at two ends, Miranchuk leaving Atalanta's also in discussions with Celtic about Matt O'Reilly, who scored twice on the weekend when they skull drug DC United around their own field. Apparently they bid like $18 million for O'Reilly.
Okay.
And I think Celtic told him to kick rocks. Like, no, it's going to cost more than that. Which they should. He's like a 23-year-old big ass left-footed 10.
Yes.
But I would imagine, I'd be shocked if he goes for less than 20.
Yeah.
But I think, if personal opinion, the Maranchuk thing precedes that. So you get the Maranchuk thing done, and then they have another 13 million. I don't know if because of the offers I've seen, I don't know if they're in dollars or euros.
Right.
But be that as it may, that's details. The devil's in the details, but we're going to leave that for a second.
Yes.
Because I would imagine that they get that done, then they go after O'Reilly, or they move to another number 10. And somebody else to try and fill that void.
Right.
But yeah, the Maranchuk thing will not die. One of those things where rumors keep growing, and Fab's talked about it, so it's at least got something resembling legs. We'll see what happens. But yeah, I'm watching it from the Celtics side. I'm watching the Matt O'Reilly thing because I think he would be very, very good there, and I imagine that they are kind of replacing one with the other. Anyway.
Yep. Right now, Tutto Atalanta is saying that the club could collect around 12 million euro from the sale. So that's kind of where
$14 million.
Yeah. So let's do the quick. Yeah, let's do the quick conversion for.
Frankly, higher than I wanted to pay for him, but whatever. I'm not sure what his quote-unquote value is. Transfermarkt isn't the be-all, end-all of that kind of thing, so be careful just taking Transfermarkt for basically etched in marble.
Yes.
You'd like to have done it for like $12 million.
13.05 is so 12 million euro is 13.05 million US.
Okay.
Mid ground from what we were thinking.
He's gonna DP. He's gonna get. I think one of the reports was he wanted a top 5 salary in the league, which I think is very doable. Now, if you do it, you just need to have him go and produce. Mm-hmm. But he fits all of the all the markers that you want. The number 10 who has produced. I think he fits your advanced metrics. He fits the age requirement. You just need to see if they get it across the line. I'm sure we'll see other rumors pop up too. James is not part of that, even though I know that James on a free is a thing because of last night. As much as we enjoyed the Copa this year with James,
yeah.
I do want to caution everybody that the last 2 or 3 clubs he's been at have had a mutual parting of ways.
Yes.
He at times struggles to stay healthy, and at times struggles to produce at the club level. That does not take away from how much fun he was with Colombia in the Copa, but
yes.
I think he also wants to go back to Europe. So I'm here to crush everyone's James dream.
Take your James rumors and sit there and stick them. But yes, apparently Miranchuk was held out of an Atalanta friendly.
Mm-hmm.
And it was, to your point, the agent of Miranchuk was the one that was saying that he'll be top 5 and all that stuff. So the team is confident that they can probably close the deal soon. Held out of the friendly against Atalanta Primavera. So that's where we are with Alexei Miranchuk and his probable exit, addition, what have you. And So we'll see what else gets added. But since we're now starting hour number 2, Jarrett, now that you've had a couple days to kind of process what we've seen with Atlanta United and crew, what sticks out in your brain?
Oh, sorry, Nashville just signed Patrick Yazbek, U22
God bless.
initiative from Viking FK in Norway.
Okay.
Midfielder Patrick Yazbek joins Nashville. Progressive midfielder. Don't know where he'll play. I don't know enough about him. I'll look him up.
Yes.
Nashville's not the midfielder in their U22 initiative. Good for you guys.
Yes.
Anywho.
Boys and gold. Drink.
Yeah. No. Roll up a newspaper and hit you in the nose now. So I guess for this weekend.
Mm-hmm.
Look, it's a ballsy ass performance. It's a good win. It sucks because you should have had 6 points in the week, which is something you never thought would happen. I think if you'd have told everybody, hey, you're going to get 4 points this week, and we're like, so we beat New York City and somehow scrape a draw out of Columbus. No, you're going to blow a 2-goal lead against New York City, an awful 2-goal lead, and then you're going to come from behind and set piece the living hell out of Columbus and actually, kind of pummel them a bit defensively. Look, man, Atlanta used a lot of long balls, which is funny because I think Matt Doyle mentioned it as well, but we were watching after the NYC game, I was watching the end of Charlotte game. And Charlotte did the same thing to Columbus. It's kind of that thing where Columbus lays those traps for you in the midfield and they turn you over. Go look at the first goal. It's Xande Silva puts Tristan Muamba in a really bad spot by playing that square ball to him in a dangerous area. Tristan gets turned over, then Columbus bomb in on goal. Save from Brad, which people thought he should have done better. It's a weird one because of the angle and because of everyone around him. Brad will wish to tell you he should have done better, but it's such a quick ball from that angle. But those turnovers are what Columbus can do to you, and they're so good at counter-pressing and so good at trapping you in, and then you're just in trouble. That Atlanta and Charlotte both just kind of you cannot trap what is over your head. And so both of them were out one, and it helped that Stian Gregerson, aside from having 2 goals, man, Stian Gregerson hit a couple dimes. He was dropping some Stetson Bennett level deep balls. I hope Stetson's okay, man.
Yeah, absolutely.
Atlanta United has transferred Caleb Wiley to Chelsea Football Club of English Premier League forever. Yeah, that's official.
Oh, so that's officially
official as of 2 minutes ago. Thank you, Alex. Sorry, Alex.
Yes.
It just felt right to say. It's the officially official thing, but
yeah. Well, okay. Since it's officially official, I gotta do this. I've got to hit this. So, where am I? It's nothing like having a bunch of drops and having to sort through everything. All right. So, yes, officially official. All right.
Mm-hmm.
And speaking of 50-50s, Bart Keeler is now in, considering that Caleb Wiley.
I have a question for Bart.
Okay, so then question away to Bart.
I'm going to drag you right into reffing down here. This is not me yelling about the refs thing. I want to ask your opinion. I want to ask your opinion about something that I thought was right that made a lot of people very mad. At the end of that game, Tristan Muamba subbed out. I believe he is still, as we speak, making his way over to the sideline.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
And they held the sub because he took longer than 10 seconds. I know people were very mad about this. Rob about busted a blood vessel on the sideline. People were booing. It's my understanding that this was done absolutely correctly by the book. And my issue is we haven't seen it more often where referees enforce it. It's my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, he enforced it perfectly.
Yeah, I mean, as soon as Muamba came off, they tried to get Abram on, And he was sent back, and immediately I said, oh, well, yeah, because Muyumba took about 17 minutes to try to get off the field. And, oh boy, I'm sorry. I'm still a little salty about this team right now. But put that under the list of just a lot of stupid little mistakes Muyumba's made in the past 2 months that have really put this team in disadvantageous positions.
He's driven folks. He's driven folks crazy going to back.
Tristan lives in my doghouse.
And this is just another time he did it. I mean, dude, get out the field.
I told Maddie during the game, because we were sitting next to each other in the press box, I told her he is playing like someone threatened his job, which, yeah.
Yeah.
That should be a consistent thing because he hasn't
Yes.
been good enough. I thought he played well aside from that, but good God.
Well, no, I agree. But I mean, that specific incident is absolutely by the book. I think to your point, it's certainly not something we see consistently applied or called. Similar to Brad getting a yellow card for delay, when how many times do we see goalkeepers come into Mercedes-Benz Stadium and the first goal kick they takes about 17 minutes. That is
because
I mean, look, to Brad's credit, like he knew what he was doing. He took that yellow card gleefully, but I mean, I think inconsistent application is allowed to be annoyed, but it was the correct thing to do in both circumstances.
All right, so now that we brought up Brad and Ish housing and all of this, please explain, because I know that fans yell at this the entire time about keepers, Ish housing, and delaying and all of this. When it comes to entering the ball back into play, what's the time frame that they are supposed to, and I'm putting those words in quotes, supposed to bring the ball back in play? You can only hang on to it for how long? You've got to reintroduce it after how long?
Well, it used to be 6 seconds, as we all think we know, when the ball was in their hands. Then it became 8. And really, this is something that outside of the 2012 Olympic semifinal, you don't usually see this happen because
I was going to ask you about that.
Because it is something that, like, as a referee, you just tell the goalkeeper, hey, play. But it's very hard to police because you don't want to penalize the goalkeeper for actively trying to play soccer, because a lot of times the goalkeeper will be running around his box or looking around to see if he has an option. Well, that could take 2 to 5 seconds, and then, that player wasn't on, and so now I have to bring it back, and now I'm looking for another player to roll it to or kick it to. So it is hard to fully understand the goalkeeper's intentions. I think most referees understand well enough in the game when a goalkeeper is delaying just wasting time by keeping the ball in their hands versus actually trying to play soccer. But when it is in their hands, you supposedly have an 8-second time limit. Now, usually for me, I don't start counting until people have cleared away from the goalkeeper, because that's the other thing is, well, if the goalkeeper's got the ball in their hands, but there's 7 opponents around them, well, that's not fair to start counting for them either, But usually you want to say, okay, has the play cleared, and are they within a reasonable ability to start playing soccer again? And then you give them about 8 seconds, and at 8 seconds, usually you say, hey, let's play. And if they don't immediately make a motion to play after that, then we're going to have some issues. And if that continues, then you will start actually applying, misconduct laws of the game. But when the ball goes out of play and it's a goal kick, no one's under any obligation to be in a hurry to get back into play. I think this is something that a lot of people don't understand. I mean, people get mad, they're walking to get the ball. Okay, well, there's nothing in the laws of the game that say you must sprint to go get a ball to restart play. There's nothing in there, You want it to be timely, but walking can be timely, Again, it's just, you have to be trying to actually facilitate play, restart play, not sometimes, as Brad does, take a ball that isn't in play, kick it out of bounds, then get a new ball, then take a sip of water, then all those things. But Brad knows what he's doing. Again, Brad is not upset he got a yellow card for time wasted. He is very happy to have done that.
Yes, and absolutely so. And by the way, we are probably, meaning those of us here at the network, since we're discussing Caleb Wiley this morning, we are probably going to have to send Caleb a care package to either Chelsea or Strasbourg and probably deliver it hand to Caleb, because in his goodbye video, he actually dropped a fraction reference.
Oh, that's amazing.
Absolutely dropped a fraction reference.
We're going to have to flash freeze some heirloom barbecue and take it over.
Yeah. And we're going to have to get him some fraction gear. And we're going to have to take that over to England when we do our sit down with him about how things are in France or England or wherever the hell he is.
Man, I look forward to having to explain to people in England why it's called action at the fraction. Why do you have action at the fraction? Well, John just decided to make a rhyme because we play at what was a professional women's soccer stadium that is now used as the smallest stadium in FBS big boy football by the worst school in FBS big boy football that is sponsored by a local bank that gives me a migraine every day because I have to work with them and they make my life hell.
Oh man, that's hilarious.
So, there you go.
Yeah.
Go
so
out.
Yeah, in the video,
Kennesaw's 5-0 in my CFP 25 dynasty so far, but we've gotten a very lucky 5-0. 2 of them are overtime wins with missed extra points.
Absolutely. Bart, how long do we have you this morning?
You still got me until 10:30, bottom of the hour.
Okay, then we'll do that. The other moment that kind of came across folks, and I know that Abby wanted to talk about something that happened last week as well. And Abby, specifically, what moment are you referencing? So go ahead and put that in the Twitter.
All penalty kicks were correctly called.
Okay.
Whether they were given or not.
Okay. The other moment that I wanted to go ahead.
The NYC one was.
I think that's the one people are most. Yeah, that's the one Abby wants to call. But hey, don't pull on a guy's shoulder. That's probably the best advice I'll give you as a defender.
But I think the larger element in there, Jarrett, it's got to be consistency.
It is Charmin soft. Also,
I agree.
My favorite thing about it was the lack of physics involved because it was a tug back and dive forward.
Yes. Absolutely.
If he's going to pull you back like that, you have to feel that pull and then make your body go in that right direction.
Yes.
You don't.
Oh, I agree. I'm not going to argue that it wasn't soft or bad optics or all these things, but it clearly was a foul. I'll tell you the thing that aggravated me more about that part was that, like, I get that you called it. There's contact there. You're not going to overturn it or anything. It's going down the other way right after that. Shande has a 1-1. And he's armbarred by the defender and tries to fight through it. Just go down. He just gave a super soft penalty. There was more. The defender made more contact to Shande, and Shande fought through it. Like, no, go down. Don't be honorable. The hell do you think this is? We don't do honor here. We do wins. Right. I think that's the legitimate. You can be mad that a soft penalty was given. Right. I think that's fair.
That's right.
But again, don't complain about it when you're not also trying to take advantage of it.
Well, Luke Brennan tried to take advantage of it and did.
He did. Well, there should be a little bit of contact maybe involved. That's all I'll say.
I was annoyed when he gave the yellow for simulation right after it because I've seen worse dives than that.
Yeah.
It's the right call by the book. But just call it more consistently, please.
Yeah.
But
I agree.
Neither here nor there. I do agree with you. All penalties were fine. I did not like the second New York City one because I thought it was soft, not because I thought it wasn't a penalty. I worry that if you give that one, you're giving 3+ penalties a game.
Yeah, and I think that's a fair way to look at it. Is that it again? How consistent are we being with our adjudication? But this is just the. Okay, I'm going to try to not get into Atlanta United grievances, but this is just where the team is, and unfortunately, when you're not putting yourselves in good positions to win and putting yourselves in bad positions defensively, you're allowing yourself the favorability. You're leaving yourself to chance with the favorability or unfavorability of a call from the referee or a ball bouncing in or out. Granted, against Columbus, we got some lucky ones. Against New York City, we got two that were kind of not flukes, but just didn't go your way. And that's just where this team is we do not put ourselves in enough good positions most of the time. And unfortunately, we find ourselves a lot of times in bad positions more often than not.
Okay, so the numbers, depending on your sources for the Caleb deal, it looks like $11 million plus a percentage of a future sale, and various sources are saying that he is going to be loaned to Strasbourg for a year since it's part of the same collective. So signs with the Blues until 2031. So it's a 6+1 deal.
Yeah.
And that's a good deference of the fee. It's like, hey, it's only $1 million per year on the system. So signs until 2031, a 6+1. Looks like he's going to Strasbourg for a year because of the same multi-club model. So that's where we are with Caleb. $11 million plus a percentage of any future sale, and a 6+1. And it looks like he's heading to Strasbourg. And so I guess, Jarrett, that means we're heading to Strasbourg in January.
Let's go.
Yeah. And so he does the Irish goodbye, naturally. The other play that I wanted to discuss with you is the Flamingo Criciúma play that happened where you end up with two balls on the field. It was not a money ball situation considering it was only a 1-goal game at the time, but you had two balls on the field and a player for Criciúma kicks the second ball at the first ball in play. Time wasn't stopped because the second ball was out there and it was motionless. Game is still going on. Flamengo's on offense. So the player from Criciúma takes the stationary second ball, which was laying inside the 18, kicks it at the first ball, which was still being active in an attack by Flamengo. And then you end up with chaos. What the hell happened there?
I'm still figuring it out because this is, it's funny because we do talk about these in our referee training courses, but, it's one of those where there's no, this is something you never expect to see. Let's just put it that way.
Yeah.
And usually when a ball comes on the field, period, you do not stop the game immediately. However, we tend to do that when there is a ball that could possibly interfere with play, right?
Yes.
The problem here is you've got a team making a very clear attacking attempt toward a ball that is inside the penalty area where they're trying to attack, which is the most dangerous area on the field. So you do not want to necessarily stop play. You're allowing the attacking team to have that advantage. Because you see that they're in a very clearly advantageous position. I didn't see what the actual result of the referee's ruling was because this was only on Twitter. So
so apparently play doesn't stop for a second ball, and if a player kicks the ball at a match ball, it's a direct free kick.
Yes,
inside the area, it's a penalty.
That is supposed to be that is the correct here. Is that what the referee actually gave?
Yeah. So
okay, cool. Yes. Okay, then we got it right. We did get it right. And this is yeah. I mean that's the because the player used the outside agent.
Yeah.
Right. Now, had the attacking player just ran into the ball, then we would have had a whole different series of restarts. But no, the defending player used the outside agent to interfere with play, stopping a promise, or at that point it's dog, so maybe stopping a promising attack. But regardless, it's a direct free kick.
Yeah, so you end up with second ball on the pitch. Ref allows play to continue, removes it at the earliest opportunity. Play is only stopped if the second ball interferes with the game.
And which it did.
And so if a player kicks another ball at the match ball, direct free kick in the area. So that's what you do.
Exactly. Yeah, exactly. So that, and again, what is funny about this is that it wasn't even like the defender was trying to be nice about kicking the ball away and it just happened. No, this was very deliberate. And so it does make it a lot easier and less controversial when you do point to that spot, because I think most of the time people would be up in arms going, what do you mean? It's just about all these things. And the reality is that's a lot of things that you shouldn't be doing in the soccer game. And you get penalized with a direct free kick and happen to be inside the area. So congrats, you get a penalty kick.
There you go.
And again, I think this could be, you could be looking at additional misconduct. I would have given this player a yellow card for the unsporting behavior. But because of the nature of where it was, I mean, we're looking at a potential dog show situation. I don't think this was, because there were other players involved, but like the defender needed to be a little smart about this, because he could have cost his team, because this is not a double jeopardy situation. Right, this is not a legitimate play on the ball, because you're making a play on a ball that's not supposed to be in the field. Mm-hmm. So he could have gotten himself into a lot of trouble.
Yes, we have this thing called the Olympics. That is, I don't know if you've heard of it, but it is apparently coming up with great post haste, and we're going to have a tournament involving the beautiful game attached to it. And this kind of gets into the Caleb Wiley discussion as a part of all of this. So it all kind of dovetails and circles back to one another. When you look at this roster that is being put forth by the United States in this tournament, what is your anticipation for the tournament when it comes to the U.S. and what you're looking at for there when it comes to an expectation? What are you staring at when it comes to the 5-ring circus?
Well, I think it's fair to say that this roster is probably not the best roster we could have put together. However, I think you and I always know that that's unlikely to happen when you're trying to basically get these players, convince them to play hooky, and allow their clubs to go, yeah, that's fine. And so it just becomes a little bit of a convoluted situation. This is a benefit. This is a plus, in my opinion. I think that the benefit to this, the upside, the positive thinking is you do have a lot of young players who are integral enough to their team, to their club, that the club doesn't want to just let them go. So, I'm sure that while Atlanta United sees the value of allowing Caleb Wiley to attend the Olympics, obviously it just resulted in a very nice payday for the club. Yeah. A lot of clubs, Chicago, do not like the idea of their young player. Well, actually, I don't know what Chicago's thought process is, because
I don't think any of us do at times. Bring Frank Lopez back for a third time.
They don't know. But the point is, I think the positive is you have a lot of under 23 players that are at positions in their career where the Olympics is not a good idea for them, because they are so valuable to good clubs. I'm looking at guys like Ricardo Pepi and Malik Tillman, guys like even Gio Reyna, who are eligible, but there's no way in hell their clubs are allowing them to come, because they are too important on clubs that matter too much. And that's a positive, right? So you look at that, and you have to then play the game of, will the club release them? Is it even fair to ask about them? All these things. And you get a roster that I think should be able to get out of the group. And if you do that, you've accomplished, I think, a pretty good goal at the Olympics. That I think that really is the standard we should be holding this team to, is, hey, you should be getting out of this group, because I'm going to mess up the African team name, Guyana, not Guinea.
Yeah, it's well, you have Ghana and Guyana.
We have Guyana, Ghana, Guinea.
Oh, yeah.
French. Yeah, there's too many, but it's Guyana.
Yes.
I'm looking through the flags in my head, going, which one is which? And yet they're all red. They're all some combination of green, yellow, and red.
Yes.
Guyana and New Zealand are beatable teams. Make sure you go out and beat them. Because, look, if you lose to France, no one's going to be mad. And if you are mad that you lose to France, then hopefully that means that you played well enough that you could have got a result, right? Go out there, give France the best game you possibly can, but understand that the two winnable games, the games that are going to eventually get if you beat Guyana, you beat New Zealand, you're through. That is your goal. Get to the next round, and then you go in there, and who knows? I mean, you might be able to take on maybe we have a Caleb Wiley versus Thiago Almada matchup in the next round, which could be really fun. And if you're an Atlanta United fan, you wish them both well, and you hope they both play 90 minutes because they're no longer our problem. I mean that in the nicest way. We don't have to worry about them coming back to play for our team. We could just cheer them on.
Play your asses off. Don't get hurt, and play as many minutes as possible if the U.S. is in your path. I see how this works. No, it's what else are you looking forward to in this tournament outside of the U.S. getting out of group and possibly putting their stamp on this generation of? Oh, let me ask you this: do you think that the overage exceptions were the right ones to put into this situation?
To an extent, yes. I think I think Walker and Miles, maybe not those two specifically, but I think when you look at this age group, we see a real lack of talent, certainly a lack of depth, but definitely a lack of talent across the board at the center back position. You did want to bring in an overage player who could actually make a difference. You brought in two, and I don't see why Walker and Miles, who had a really good relationship during the 2022 World Cup qualifying cycle, can't be influential members of this team, hopefully good leaders. I don't want either of them to necessarily be captain. I know that's probably controversial, just because let the young kids lead their own peers, and I do think Tanner Testament is up for that challenge. Right. But they can be those steady head individuals who, similar to Tim Ream, right? Where Tim Ream is not captain necessarily of the U.S. men's national team, but he's clearly a leader within that clubhouse. And I think that from just they're going to hopefully be good and be able to lead you on the field. And hopefully they're able to be good leaders in the locker room. I think that's a good thing. Now, Djordje Mihailovic, I have always been a proponent of his. I think that, unfortunately, this is he's going to catch a lot of heat. He needs to fall out this tournament because I think most people will see him as the reason that Diego Luna is not on this roster. And I think most people would have rather Diego Luna been on this roster than Djordje Mihailovic because of not just the age, right? But we see more promise in Luna than we do Mihailovic. Maybe a little bit because of age, but because also we just haven't seen as much of Luna. And so I think it's I think that one I'm not against Djordje being on the roster, but I think if it's at the detriment of having a guy like Diego Luna there, then I don't know if I'm still blaming Berhalter for all of this. So I think we're allowed to do that now. He's gone, but it did seem like the Olympic team, Marco and Greg by extension, did not see the value of Diego Luna, which if you're an Atlanta United fan, I saw up close and personal, literally, a day after the announcement, 2 days after the announcement.
All right. So, Tom Russo goes Guyana, French Guiana, Ghana, Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau.
Yes, there's a lot. Yeah, there's a lot.
There's Guineas, Ghanas, and Guianas. That's what you're staring at.
Ghana, Guyana, Guinea, Papua New Guinea. All of these Papua New Guinea teams, they have a nice flag.
Does PNG doesn't have a team in this tournament, do they? Papua New Guinea, they don't have one?
No, they don't. They do not.
But it's Guyana, French Guiana, Ghana, Guinea, and Guinea-Bissau. Okay. Now I've got it all squared away. All right, what's the latest with Soccer for USPod with the 5-ring circus coming to town?
Well, we had recorded about the Olympic rosters, and then Greg got fired. So I'm going to try to edit that to fit the kind of a preview and maybe work into that.
Why don't you do it as like a lost episode? Do it anyway.
Yeah, I think that's what we're going to end up having to do because we preview a little bit the women's national team's friendlies, which despite what people are going to say, they were fine. You created tons of goal scoring opportunities. You just didn't put the ball in the net enough, and that's going to be on the players. And something that we've known about these girls for a long time. I mean, they require a lot of chances to convert, which they're going to have to figure out how to improve their own efficiencies. But yeah, I think that's probably what we'll do this. Also, once I'm done with our market event, I'll be actually able to go home and rest and enjoy.
No.
And by the way, next week I'm out because I'll be in Las Vegas.
The national marketing event.
I will be out there working our market events and playing host again. So
okay, so are you going to go catch the Vegas Lights over at Cashman while you're out there?
They are actually not playing at all.
Harumph.
While I'm there, so that is unfortunate because it was actually something I wanted to do, but they're not playing. So
well, screw them.
Sad face.
That's on them. All right. As always, my friend, thanks for dropping in. I know that this was basically a 50-50 proposition, and we got the good 50 today.
Yes. Well, thank y'all. I'll just close with this. If you're mad at supporters for not wanting ticketing price increases, then I think you probably need to reevaluate your own perspectives on life.
So be angry at angry things, right? Basically. Yeah. All right. Be safe and be good.
Bye, y'all.
All right, that's Bart. All right, so now I started kind of getting into, and Chelsea has put out their official release, by the way, of welcoming Caleb. They basically went through the entire career of Caleb Wiley, and welcome to Chelsea, Caleb. Let me see how many paragraphs we're talking here. 3, 6, 5 involving Atlanta United and the U.S. men's national team. 6, Wiley is currently with the U.S. men's soccer team in Paris as they prepare to compete in the 2024 Olympic Games. Welcome to Chelsea, Caleb. So there you go. All right, so Chelsea has come out with their official release. Various sources, depending on which currency you know how to convert, 8.5 million pounds. It was however many euro it was, 11 million, 6 years plus 1. And it looks like he's going to Strasbourg, and so we'll be following Strasbourg as we go here. But it looks like signed by Chelsea. Looks like he's going to be loaned to Strasbourg. That is not officially official yet, but loaned to Strasbourg and then eventually put back in the Chelsea pipeline because of the multi-club model. So that's where we are. All right. So now that we're a half hour to go, I finally get to say hi to everybody. Quick check. Pars was having, this is a community service announcement. Pars was having problems getting into the Twitch pitch this morning. He could do it mobile, but he couldn't do it computer. Are any of you guys having the same problems? Someone could be yelling at Pars's computer and him not being able to get in. So just let us know. Morning, Derek. Morning, Morning, Derek, discussing LFTMs. Morning, David. Morning, Alex. Morning, Michael. Morning, Hutch. Morning, David. David, inside scoop. Got to go to Delta Club Saturday with his daughter. After the game, got to talk to Stian. Asked him if he had Norwegian tacos pregame. He said he had them for dinner Friday, so maybe we now know the secret. That could very well be the case. So Stian just needs to continue Norwegian tacos on Fridays heading into. So, oh wow. Well, see, now the problem here is, does this mean that he has to have Norwegian tacos Thursday, or does he have it Friday morning? Does this Friday to Saturday apply universally, or does this day before apply? See, this is what we've got to figure out. We have to figure out if the Norwegian tacos are day before or if they're locked into a Friday. That's the big question that we have here. So that's what we're staring at with all of the Norwegian tacos. And what is a Norwegian taco anyway? I'd never heard of this. What is a Norwegian taco? Somebody let me know. Yes, Michael, there is joy in Mudville. And Tom says the Airborne DJ, especially glorious victory for Tom, given his Columbus supporting friend who was never short of stick to give. And Tom called the goal. We like that. Morning, Will. And yes, Tom, the 3 S's have been key. Saba, Sleesh, and Stian. Much better when those 3 are all in and all fit. Michael says, yeah, I saw the second one coming. Saba, when playing fast, has been great. According to David Shandy, when he plays free and gets ready to shoot from wherever helps too. Just line up and fire. Just go. Both playing better the last 2 weeks. Hutch becoming more cohesive. Add a couple of top-level players. And this is why we brought in the Miranchuk discussion. Left wing, maybe? I mean, Shande, you bring in a left winger? Because if you're looking at attacking mid, striker, left wing, that triangle, folks that might know each other, that might be cool. So, yeah, Will is mentioning the Garber Bucks Cup. No update on the Rios injury yet. We'll keep an eye out for Rob Valentino and his press conferences. This week, he did mention it in the post-match press conference on Saturday, but they knew it was something, but they didn't know specifically what. And so now that they've had Sunday to look, we'll see if there's any evolution in letting us know what's up with Daniel. Morning, Abby. Nagbe was there, but because he had played in the midweek, Wilfred Nancy had rotated. There were 2 changes in the lineup, and one of them was Nagbe. So Driver was available but did not play. David, Muyumba, Sleege, and Fortune are a fun group because all are capable, dangerous going forward, but all can defend. Muyumba is a bit of a wild card. That's probably putting it mildly, David. But they can all 3 move between more of a 6 and more of a 10. Sleege made some great attacking runs on Saturday. Tom Muyumba careless on the goal again. Costly errors. And Tristan's going to drive you crazy. And, I mean, his imagination, like I said, he is the mayor of Backheel City. And I don't know. It's like that seems to be just the thing with Tristan. But, yeah, Tristan does drive you nuts. He does. He does drive you nuts. Let's see. Abby discussing chance and everything. And Michael, again, the center ref was less than stellar. Yeah, pro. Yeah. Well, but I mean, remember, Michael, PSRA said that they're the best. They said that they're the best on the planet. Yeah. Rosendo Mendoza left a little to be desired as well. Let's see. Morning, Will. Morning, Alex. Let's see. Michael and Hutch and David. David, how if Brad made a save and spilled it in the rebound win, is that not at least 2 shots? It should have been. It should have been a shot and a save and a shot. That's what it should have been. I feel like my buddy Pharrell all of a sudden. Shot, saves. Yeah. All right. So, Will, I know that Ronald is. I know that the opinions of Ronald are to the extremes. I think that Ronald gives you quality minutes. I think that he's a good piece to have. And so, the spot starts and things like that. And that's why I went through the numbers of the players in each of these matches. And that's what I like to do after matches. I want to go back to SofaScore and see how they rate and see the individual statistics that they help contribute in. All the different categories that Jay contributed in, all the different ones that Ronald contributed in. I think that Ronald is a good piece to have. So we'll see. We'll see what Ronald is up to. Abby. Let's see. Morning, Abby. Morning, Will. Morning, Abby. Michael's not going to be watching any of the Needless All-Star game. I might watch, like I said, the unified match and the MLS next match with Aiden Torres. It might be on in the room. I'm not going to be paying, a whole lot of attention to it. It'll be on. So it just so I can, obviously, so we can talk about it on Thursday, but it'll be on in the room. So let's see. Abby and Hutch and Michael and Will says it feels weird not being annoyed at the team this morning. And with the transfer rumors, yeah. And so that was just before Caleb turned into an announcement. But I legitimately, the Fuller and Balogun rumors. Yeah, when Fuller and Balogun, yeah, he's at the match. Oh, Fuller and Balogun. No, calm down, folks. It's okay. Let the man come and be a fan. But yeah, so we got to keep an eye on the other transfer rumors. Like I said, that's why I wanted to go into the Miranchuk rumors this morning and see where we were. It looks like from the Atalanta side, but once again, check your sources, check your sources, check your sources. Miranchuk may be heading this way. And somewhere in the neighborhood, right in the middle, 13 million. So Atlanta came in at 10 in some sources. Folks were saying 15 on the other side. Atalanta wants 15. Atlanta says 10. You cut the middle and go 13. So that's what it's looking like according to sources reporting numbers close to Atalanta. They're saying close to 13 million US. So we'll sit there and right there in the middle. David wants to know if Balogun's got a brother. A last big name fan was Paul Pogba and then Florentine. Flo Pogba. I remember Flo Pogba. Wasn't mutual at Everton. Well, Hamas wanted to return. Benitez said he was too old 4 years ago at the age of 29. Oh, there's Pars at 10 o'clock. Okay, Pars is in. That's right, but he's doing it off his phone. Yes, and so, yes, if anyone knows how to fix and help so Pars can actually get back to his laptop and be a part of conversations on the Twitch pitch, please let the man know, because I sure as hell don't know how to do something like that. But I'm glad that we found a bit of a workaround. So yeah, like I said, I know that that Tristan's gonna drive folks crazy, and it'll be interesting. Michael, yes, our resident Chelseaer, yes, absolutely. Michael, in no universe that I think any Atlanta United player would ever be transferred to Chelsea. There you go. So does this mean for Michael, our resident Chelseaer, does this mean that Michael will now get a Caleb Wiley Chelsea jersey and wear it with pride? That's the question. Abby's like, let Tristan be picked by San Diego. Yeah, the Brad Yellow was ridiculous. And that's the thing. Give me consistency. Give me absolute consistency here, people. If you're going to call it a certain way, call it a certain way. Don't just sit there and go, ooh, bang, and come up with, one of those. No, it's not how this works. Of course, it is how it works to them, but they sit there and they go, bang, here's your yellow. Like immediately doing something like that. And no consistency whatsoever. I'd like consistency. Am I asking for too much? Apparently I am. Just give me consistency. If you're going to call it one way, call it one way all the way through. That's all I want. That's all I want. It's just consistency, please. Let's see. David, the holding of Abram was right. The 2-minute injury hold for Columbus was odd. It was 30 seconds of play. Time seemed to start when the Meds started taking him off the pitch. And Katie Weaver is like, yes, does the Abstermobile cross the Atlantic? And that's right. The Abstermobile is in between stages. So we'll see what the word is there. Let's see. Morning, Derek. Morning. And then, yes, undisclosed amount. Atlanta United came up with their particular, with their statement about Caleb wandering through. So night before for Norwegian tacos. Okay. So, but the thing is, we don't know this to be true. We know night before match day, but is it Friday? Is it a Friday consist? So does he have to have it on Friday? So if it's night before match day, it's night before match day. That's fine with Norwegian tacos. Just have to figure that out. Make sure that this is consistent. Like our buddy John Schuster says, he's going to be on 10 o'clock tomorrow morning. He's like, I'm not superstitious. I'm just a little stitious. Is this stitious behavior from Stian? Is Stian stitious? We need to know. I prefer to think of it as ritualistic, but we'll see what happens. So, night before Norwegian tacos. Let's see. The discussion with Ronald continues. Yes, Fat Fingers Monday. I'm right there with you. Fat Fingers Monday. That's me. All right. So, Bart and Abby. Yeah. Well, okay. So, Greg Garza and Mikey Ambrose. Glad that it was the two of them. Okay. Because I was wondering who the special guest stars were going to be for the Brewster's ice cream that was handed out at the tailgate on Saturday. So it was Greg Garza, Mikey Ambrose. So that's so glad that Greg and Mikey came by. Oh, for those that, by the way, you can go to our store, and I'm going to take my headset off here for a second. You can go to our store and get the gear, because actually I wanted to make a point to print the document just to prove it. So hang on just a second. I know this is going to make for fantastic radio. Actually, tell you what. Let me see if I can find some hold music for like the 15 seconds that I'm going to be. Let's see. Wait, what do we do here? So I can put a loop back into a track. This is just quickly. Okay. Sorry, it's musical interlude while I was trying to print something. And the printer is not in a position where I can, I can't just like reach over and do something. So, okay. So just to prove to Caleb Wiley and to everyone that you can go to our store and get your Action at the Fraction gear. Here's the paperwork right there. Action at the Fraction, U.S. Patent and Trade Office, right here. So it is ours. It's ours, right there. So you can go to our store, go to soccerdownhere.net, and you can go to our store and you can buy all of our gear, and you can get your Action at the Fraction gear right here. SDH holds the PTO on Action at the Fraction. And we have it. I think it's like a 5 or a 6 year thing. So anybody that wants to get your Action at the Fraction gear, you can. Recommended. So I know I needed glow lights. I really did. I really needed glow lights or something. But yeah, so go to soccerdownhere.net. You can click on the store, get our gear. And so we need to start following probably Chelsea and League Michael Head, you're going to have to give us more details about everything. We do kind of ish on Bow League Clear Lake a little bit because all they want to do is spend money. And, the results are not matching the amount of money that is spent. So soccerdownhere.net. Just go to the main site. And you can go click on our store. And you can just go to the main website and you can get all of our gear. And it's made to order. So let me see, where's our store here? Just to give you an idea as to where the store is. Yeah. So go to the bottom of the page and it's a Teespring store. So you can get your SDH gear. We've got a Teespring store, TEESPRING.com, Teespring. So go to the bottom of our page. You can get our gear. You can get our Action at the Fraction T-shirts, all that kind of stuff. It is there. Weird. Okay. So I clicked all the way to the bottom of the website, teespring.com/soccer, and it goes and it clicks the links and things. Long sleeve Action at the Fraction T-shirts, $25. You can get all of the all of our old gear, like the Atlanta Attack and the Ruckus and our takes on silly season, Dribblers Union, all that kind of stuff. Fighter jets in a washing machine, Dribblers Union, all that stuff. You can go and get your Action at the Fraction. Friends don't let friends don't lay behind the wall. Defensive Genius. Argentina champions from the World Cup. You can get your Action at the Fraction Classic Crewneck T-shirt for $20. Kitakocho T-shirts, unisex full zip hoodies for $41. We have yet to put the new logo out, but it's all of our old logos and things, but the Mucha Plata and going all the way back to the basics with our sweatshirts and everything. But yeah, it is a Teespring store. Bottom of the page, where it's below all the articles and just above the Jason Wright Agency click-through. Get your SDH gear. It's a Teespring store, or you can go to teespring.com and do a Soccer Down Here search, and it should take you there. But it's at the bottom of our page on the website. Click on it, go there, buy stuff. You can get your Festivus stuff squared away. All right. So, yes, we don't have the new logo out yet. That's something that we got to figure out how to orchestrate that. So that's the new thing. We got to figure out the new logo with the SDH and all that kind of stuff. And I guess we have to follow Strasbourg and Ligue 1 now officially official. Okay. Gossip, rumor, and innuendo, where to go, what to watch, how to watch it, all that kind of stuff. Did you see that CBS and Paramount Plus re-upped with Serie A? They also have the EFL and the Carabao Cup. So it's a very, very busy day for our friend Poppy Miller. We'll see if we can catch up with her in short order and find out about all of the transfer news when it comes to leagues. So we'll keep an eye on all of that. Your gossip for today so far. West Ham interested in the move for AC Milan's Fikayo Tomori. That's the 4-letter paper. Take the information at your own peril. Arsenal close to agreeing to a deal with Bologna for Calafiori for £42 million. Manchester United hopeful of beating Bayern and Leipzig to Xavi Simons. Al-Ittihad have now approached Manchester City over a deal for Ederson because Donnarumma is not working out. And so Ederson is happy where he is. But right now, if the money's going to be there, I think $30 million, I think was the asking price. Once again, 4-letter paper. Villa willing to sell Matty Cash this summer. Manchester City's Kevin De Bruyne has not agreed to terms with Al-Ittihad despite reports. United decided not to trigger an option to sign Sofiane Amrabat on a permanent deal. Keep an eye out for a 3D from our buddy Drew Dickinson. Premier League club interested in keeping Amrabat at the club after his loan spell last season, but they want to negotiate a new deal. Arsenal have made a fresh bid of worth up to £300,000 for Wolves English keeper Dan Bentley, 3-letter paper. Villa's forward Moussa Diaby expected to complete his move to Al-Ittihad next week. Villa will look to replace Diaby with Joao Felix. Joao Felix apparently has a 9-figure release clause. Villa does not seem to be balking at that at the moment. Spurs want to replace Oliver Skipp with a homegrown midfielder if they allow him to leave. Bayern Munich's honorary president, Uli Hoeneß, has suggested that Matthijs de Ligt could leave the club this summer. United don't want to allow Scott McTominay to leave Old Trafford, especially with interest with Fulham and Spurs. PSG set to advance their pursuit of Victor Osimhen, as well as Osimhen. PSG also want to sign Napoli's Kavichka Kvaratskhelia and Desiree Doué from Rennes. Those are that's the early gossip and rumor and innuendo this morning. So looking at taking a tour of the papers, and then we'll finish up with what to watch, where to watch it, all that kind of stuff. We do have some stupidity down here. So Villa's keen on Joao Felix with Diaby heading to Saudi Arabia over a £50 million deal. Newcastle apparently is holding clear the air talks with Eddie Howe amid interest from England. Did you see this? A match in Norway's top flight suspended on Sunday amidst a flurry of items thrown onto the field to protest VAR. The items thrown onto the field were fish cakes. Rosenborg's match against Lillestrøm abandoned just 30 minutes in as both sets of supporters joined forces to vent their fury. In addition to fish cakes, tennis balls also thrown onto the pitch, and fans chanted effing hate VAR. I assume in Norwegian. First interrupted after 6 minutes when Rosenborg fans threw tennis balls onto the pitch. Further stoppages resulted in match referee ordering players to leave. Banner was unfurled, which read, "We will never give up. VAR will go away. I hate to break it to you, Norwegian fans, but it will not." Announcement was made, warning the match would be abandoned. Fans from both sides continued protest. Game then called off after 4 separate stoppages. The introduction of VAR in Norway last year prompted protests from more than 70 fan groups. In April, Sweden refused to use VAR following a fan revolt against the introduction. The president of the Swedish Football Association confirmed VAR would not be implemented in its competitions, having previously proclaimed the system our future. Swedish clubs are at least 51% fan-owned. Fierce resistance among supporters to VAR introduction. Fish cakes. Reinfeldt, the former prime minister of Sweden, told Aftonbladet more than half of the top 32 teams opposed VAR. He said, quote, "If I counted correctly, we have 18 elite clubs in 2 districts that have said they don't want to introduce VAR. We respect that. That's why we didn't bring forward any proposal about VAR to the previous Board of Reps meeting, and I don't foresee it in the future either. I stand by respecting the democratic rules of the game," end quote. Reinfeldt had warned a year ago Swedish clubs could be forced to use VAR in their home matches in UEFA competitions. He said that threat had receded. Swedish Professional Football League group said last summer it would campaign against VAR being trialed in the autumn. General Secretary said at the time Sweden is currently the only country among Europe's 30 highest-ranked leagues that has not decided to introduce VAR. The fact that we have not done so is largely due to our democratic model. We're proud of our club democracy, and we must protect it. Y'all, that's cool. If you want to deal with human error, that's on you. Let's see. Folks are analyzing. I know that Tom and Ropes and others are probably doing earmuffs right now. Analysis about the club going back into administration, meaning Everton, especially after the Friedkin takeover, has collapsed. Man United could revive the Jared Branthwaite interest after the takeover collapse. Leicester's made an improved bid for Juve's winger Matthias Sula. And Napoli is making a move for Brighton's Billy Gilmore. They said 8 initially. Brighton's like, nah, 12, and then we'll talk. Keep an eye on that. And so we have more fun with transfers and all of that behavior. Chelsea want to sign a keeper to push Robert Sanchez for the number 1 spot. West Ham is keen on a surprise move for N'Golo Kante. Manchester City have sealed a £34 million signing of Savinho from Troy. Keep an eye on that for FFP. And what was the other thing? Oh, yeah, stupidity down here. It involves Joey Barton. Welcome to Monday. Joey Barton, stupidity down here. We should probably just title it. We probably should just title the segment Stupidity Down Here, presented by Joey Barton. So that's no surprise, really. Once again, this is from our friends at the Telegraph. Set to appear at Warrington's Magistrates Court over his comments about Eni Aluko. Ordered to appear a week on Tuesday, so a week from tomorrow. Following an investigation by Cheshire Police, Eni Aluko subject of posts made to Barton's Twitter account. Following her appearance as a pundit during the FA Cup coverage in January. A man from Widnes has been summoned to court to face charges of malicious communications, according to Cheshire Police. Following an investigation, the Crown Prosecution Service has since authorized the charges for Joseph Barton. Charges relate to reports of alleged malicious communications online between Monday, 1 January, and Thursday, 18 January. In response to the charges, of course, Joey Barton felt compelled to respond to them via the 280-character app. I'm up next month for malicious communications charge at Warrington Mag for Eni Aluko tweets. Crazy time we're living in. Haven't the police got enough on their hands? British system is becoming a banana republic. Lawfare used against its own citizens for having a dissenting voice. Quoting back to the Telegraph article, there have been a number of posts made to Barton's account since December about women working in football, including one comparing Aluko and fellow pundit Lucy Ward to serial killers Fred and Rose West. Last month, Aluko filed a claim for defamation against Barton, having threatened back in January to take legal action over online abuse she said had left her scared to leave her home. claim was lodged shortly after Barton apologized to Jeremy Vine and agreed to pay him £75,000 in damages over what a high court judge ruled had been defamatory comments made on X about the television and radio presenter. I'd like to sit here and say that, yeah, sure, go ahead and ban folks from the 280-character app, but we all know about the success rate about something like that. So Joey Barton's going to court. We can cycle things back to zero when it comes to the board and days since our last episode of Stupidity Down Here. We mentioned Eddie Howe. Eddie Howe seeks the right dynamic, according to headlines, with the future of him staying at Newcastle in doubt. And so keep an eye on that. And once again, remember, Amanda Stavely, no longer part of the ownership group. Stavely was one of the ones that was keen on bringing Howe in the first place. You bring in Paul Mitchell as director of football, James Bunce, performance director. So keep an eye on Eddie Howe. I absolutely want to stay, but it has to be the right for me and the club. There's no point in me saying I'm happy staying at Newcastle if the dynamic isn't right. As a new team coming together, we have to set our boundaries, end quote. Darren Eales last week had talked about the recent personnel changes as enabling the manager to spend more time on the grass where Eddie's at his best, but as Howe put it on Friday, I've made the points I have today because this has to work for Newcastle. I've been really happy for 2.5 years, loved every second of the relationships I've had, and the way that I've been able to work. I think that it has brought success. We're in the flux of change. I can't say with a definitive answer where that will lead, end quote. So keep an eye on Eddie Howe. And how, H-O-W, without the E, and how that will play forward. So keep an eye on Eddie Howe. Once again, reminder about the week, very, very busy. Tomorrow, we're 9:15, we're bringing in Willie Davis, the head coach of North Carolina Courage, after they won the USLW championship this past weekend in Cary over Colorado Storm in the USLW, less than a month before the USLS season begins. The USL Super League, USLS. And so North Carolina Courage visiting us tomorrow at 9:15. Brett Teach, the head coach at Columbus United, provided he has hopped on a plane. He might be reaching out to us from Houston. Because this morning on the Columbus United 280-character app, there were still folks, it was a divided traveling party. Some folks might make it back today from stuff that's gone on the weekend. So they might be back in Columbus by 9:45 tomorrow morning. They're supposed to practice at 10. Columbus United in their semifinal getting ready for FC Motown is supposed to be at practice tomorrow morning at 10 o'clock or 10:15. And so we have Brett scheduled at 9:45. He might be in the parking lot watching his guys warm up. He might be in Houston at the airport. We don't know. But we'll find out tomorrow morning at 9:45. So 9:15, Willie Davis, the head coach of North Carolina Courage, as they won the USLW title. 9:45, it's Brett Teach, the head coach at Columbus United, as they get ready to travel to FC Motown. Then at 10 o'clock, John Schuster from Duluth FC. After their win, we'll talk about their win in Pennsylvania to get them to the Final Four, and they're traveling to El Farolito in Northern California. So they've got to get from Duluth to San Francisco. That's what they've got to do this week. That's your Final Four in the NPSL. And so we'll keep an eye on that. I mentioned USL League 2 and how that was this weekend. We'll try and catch up with some of those folks as we get closer to their groupings. I think they're now officially at the round of 8. If my math is correct. And let's see, playoffs. If you click the playoffs banner, they are down to the round of 8. And it is Corpus Christi FC who knocked off Little Rock Rangers. Asheville City beat Brave FC. They were down 1-0 after 39 minutes. And that game got delayed by lightning. Lionsbridge won Seacoast United Phantoms won, so that's the matchup from the Eastern section. Western side, it's going to be Project 510 and FC Tucson. Flint City Bucks beat Fort Wayne. Peoria City beat Des Moines Menace. So that's your what happened in the conference semis. Project 510 beat United PDX 5-4. FC Tucson shut out Ventura County Fusion 1-0. Took a little while, but Flint City beat Fort Wayne 2-1. Peoria City had to go to PKs to beat Des Moines 4-2 in penalties after a 5-5 crazy. It was a crazy match. It was 3-3, finished 5-5. They go to penalties. Peoria City wins at 4-2. Seacoast United beat Vermont Green 3-0. Lionsbridge shut out Salem City 2-0. Asheville City down 1-0, came back to beat Brave SC, the Villages, 2-1. And Corpus Christi in penalties beats Little Rock 5-4 at War Memorial, so they advance. And so that's where we are with the final 8. Once again, Corpus Christi, Asheville City, Lionsbridge, Seacoast United Phantoms, Project 510 FC Tucson, Flint City, Peoria City. That's where we are with the playoffs, and that's going to continue this upcoming weekend. We'll try and catch up with some folks in USL League 2, probably piecing together the USL League 2 weekly and putting it there and catching up with folks that way. Catch up with folks in Asheville and Lionsbridge and see what we can do as we get into the round of 8 this weekend in USL League 2. So very, very busy with that. And we know the Final 4 in the NPSL. We're down to the Final 8 in USL League 2. Like I said, we'll catch up with that all week long. Wednesday, once again, Tyler Pilgrim from Scarves in Spikes joining us in Spikes at 9:15. See if Dylan Butler can join us at 10 o'clock to talk about everything Major League Soccer as we head into the All-Star break. Thursday, Kaylor Hodges, Nino Torres, Nico Moreno, 9:30, 10, 10:30. Kaylor Hodges, USL, it's the last Thursday, so that means that Kaylor Hodges, USL, and the USL show join in, and we get to find out about their trip to Oakland from this past weekend, the NorCal Derby. Nino's at 10, Nico's at 10:30. Hopefully we catch up with our friends from Beyond Goals at 9:30, get you ready for Leagues Cup and everything going on the weekend. Very, very busy stuff across the board in the world of soccer. And we might even have some folks locked in. Tom says Onana to Villa official as of a short time ago. Thank you for that. Looking at the roster, do I think Ibarra will be brought back from a loan with new MLS rules? Not so sure. I mean, I don't know. Would he currently fit? Would be the first question for me. So Fabrizio Romano, officially official. Villa signed Amadou Onana as a new midfielder from Everton. $50 million fee plus add-ons and a sell-on. Onana has signed a long-term deal. That will, Tom, how will that help you with your, not FFP, but profit and sustainability, PSR? How will that help you? I imagine it will. So that is the new signing there. And by the way, I'm trying to put League in like notifications and logins and things. The initial window, the homepage for the League website, literally it's taking the and it's just been cycling it in blue and pink for like the last 25 minutes. Ever since I wanted to try to figure out how to get media coverage locked in for League the so it's sitting right there in the middle of the page, and it's just cycling blue and pink colors. That's not a good sign for your League McDonald's website if you're trying to do something like that. So not a good start. So once again, very, very busy week across the board for us here at SDH. We got Leagues Cup on Friday. We got a lot of the minor. We have a lot of the lower division stuff Caleb posted on Instagram. But yeah, we're going to have to get Caleb some action at the Fraction gear. 14 minutes ago. So quoting Caleb on Instagram. So thankful I was able to start my career with Atlanta United Academy, then continue the path to Atlanta United first team. Playing for Atlanta United has been an absolute dream. I'd like to thank my incredible teammates, coaches, the entire staff, my family, friends, and you, the fans, for the support I've received throughout my journey. Your encouragement always fueled me to go out on the pitch and give it my all. So thank you, Atlanta, and forever and always my heart and my home. So 1,430 likes, and it was posted about a quarter till, 14 minutes, so 9:05, just before 11 o'clock this morning. So Yeah, no doubt. Alex says French League's website is on a summer holiday. You ain't kidding. Tom for Everton, good for a while with Premier League and TV money, sales of players. Hang on for a while. Need to get the takeover sorted eventually, sooner than later, hopefully. Okay. What to watch, where to watch it. And don't forget, if you want to be a true degenerate like me, once again, go to Fanatis, fntz.co/soccer down here. You can get Teise, For the Fans, Nuestra Tele, Gold TV with our buddy Nino Torres, all the BNs, and you can watch everything with all of that. What is that? No. Specifically not. It's like March 26th. No, we're in July here, people. All right, so Monday, FS2 has the CONCACAF U20 Men's Championship. The U.S. has been putting up some big numbers. They brought out the switch and the whooping stick to Jamaica earlier in the tournament. Cuba and the USA is at 10 o'clock on FS2. Fox Deportes, Liga MX Femenil. Monday Night Football, Tigres and Puebla is at 9. Jamaica, Costa Rica on the U20s is at 7 o'clock. Paramount Plus has San Lorenzo and Argentinos Juniors at 2:30 out of the Argentine Primera. That is on Paramount Plus. So 1, 2, 3, 4 matches today here on your Monday. It's a little bit bigger on Tuesday where we get into Argentine Primera, Sudamericana, and all that kind of stuff. Like I said, we'll talk to Nino Torres about that on Tuesday, but that's where we are after today. 4 matches today to watch with all your transfers. Caleb posting on Instagram. He's heading to Chelsea. It's a 6+1. Looks like Atlanta United's getting 11. Sell price is $11 million, and they get a percentage of a sell-on. 6+1 deal for Chelsea. Officially signs with Chelsea, probably being loaned to Strasbourg, and so that's probably where we're going to go in frickin' January. January in France. France. Abby, find that drop for me, because I sure as hell can't find it. But yeah, so Caleb Wiley is the next domino. Miranchuk looking more and more likely. If you're looking at reports coming out of Atalanta and their newspapers and fan bases and things like that, somewhere right in the middle, 13 million. So Caleb for Alexei Miranchuk. Keep an eye on that. All right, back at it in a little less than 22. Willie Davis will be with us, and we'll get you started stuff in the lower divisions on Tuesday and Friday, plus Leagues Cup and all that kind of stuff. So that means that since it is the end of the show, it is time for me to put up a billboard and whistle us to a close. Play it safe, everybody. Mucha platiel. Very, very busy Monday. Great to have you on, as always. We'll be back at it again very, very soon.